Hi, and thank you for joining Fox 4. We are interrupting programming for breaking news. We've just learned that Judge Kyle has just sentenced Mark Sievers to the death penalty. Now, this happened during what's called a Spencer hearing. We're going to explain to you what that is, but we know Mark Sievers was convicted of first-degree murder in the murder of his wife, Dr. Teresa Sievers, a well-known and well-respected doctor here out of the Bonita Springs community.
Shari, this is a case that is years in developing. So Mark Sievers was found guilty of hiring two men to kill his wife. Now, we want to go to our Jessica Alpern, who is standing by. She's outside of the Lee County Courthouse. Jessica, this is really a very big development here. We did not know until about an hour ago that we were actually going to have a final sentence for Mark Sievers. So what can you tell us right now?
Well, Lauren, this was an emotional morning for everyone who was inside of that courtroom. This is when we saw Mark Sievers truly plead for his life. This was the day that we learned that Judge Bruce Kyle would, in fact, issue that death sentence, would follow through with that recommendation, as you'll recall, from the jury who convicted him of first-degree murder for orchestrating the death of his wife, Teresa Sievers. And this is when we saw Mark take the stand for the first time. And he talked a lot about his kids, saying he doesn't want them to lose their dad, saying they already had to lose their mommy. And you guys, we also heard him say he can't feel remorse for something that he did not do. So in that statement, he said that he maintains his innocence. But at the end of it all, Judge Kyle saying that he does not feel that he can follow through on somebody's character. He can't make a decision based off of character. Someone's actions is what he can make a decision based off of. And he actually specifically said Mark's soul is not what he can take into consideration when he issues his final sentence. And that's because we heard the defense talk a lot about volunteer work that Mark Sievers has done in the community over the years that he has lived here, and also about his faith, the fact that he raised the kids to be religious. That was something they asked that they take into consideration, and the fact that the kids themselves did not want to lose their dad. But at the end of the day, Judge Bruce Kyle saying he is issuing that death penalty because he needs to judge Mark Sievers off his actions.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much. And I think one of the big things that you said right there is today is the first time we heard from Mark Sievers. We did not hear from him through his whole trial, but something else, we haven't heard from his daughters. And you kind of mentioned how they felt about all of this. Now, they didn't speak today. They had an impact statement between his daughters and also Teresa's family. How were the emotions? What were their thoughts that they kind of revealed to the media while you've been at the courthouse?
So when you talk about those impact statements, what we specifically heard them reference was a postcard that was sent to Mark Sievers from one of his daughters while he was in jail. And we heard specific portions of that postcard referenced where they said that, "Are they really going to put you to death, Daddy? We don't want you to die." So that was one of the pieces of information that we heard resurrected during this portion, during the Spencer hearing. And that was one of the pieces of information also that Mark went off when he was making his statement, just kind of trying to hit home on the fact that he says he didn't want his kids to lose another parent. So that was certainly an emotional moment in the courtroom. Another emotional moment that I'll share with you guys is when we actually saw family members of Teresa Sievers walk over to hug family members of Mark Sievers. So there was a specific moment, I actually tweeted about this live while we were in the courtroom, where we saw Teresa Sievers' brother walk over to the defense's side and give Mark Sievers' mother a hug. So it was emotional for both sides. And you'll remember when we first got that guilty verdict of first-degree murder, we actually heard family members of Teresa Sievers say that they can't hope for the death penalty when it comes to Mark Sievers. Really, all they were hoping for was the guilty verdict when it comes to him being convicted as guilty for first-degree murder. Teresa Sievers' sister at that time saying she knew in her bones the entire time he was guilty. So that was the important part for the family. Again, they said that they could never hope for somebody to be sentenced to death, but it was an emotional moment in the courtroom for them. We actually were just one row in front of Teresa Sievers' family, and the second that Judge Bruce Kyle did in fact sentence him to death, I heard the mother and just family members gasp and cry. It was certainly an emotional moment for both sides today.
Jessica, thank you very much. And you can count on Fox 4 to bring you more information as we get it. Jessica, we know that you've been out there this morning. We know that Sandra Rodriguez is also out there outside of the courthouse as well, gathering more details. And we will bring those details to you as we get them into our newsroom.
Yes, Jessica, thank you so much. And for everyone at home, we just mentioned our Sandra Rodriguez, and she has been following this, not just for the Mark Sievers trial, but also for the Jimmy Rogers trial.
Correct.
And she has been tweeting throughout the entire morning on kind of the various things that she's heard and seen inside of the courtroom. So all of that has been retweeted on the Fox 4 Twitter page. And of course, we're going to have more tonight on Fox 4 at 5, 6, 10, and 11.
That's correct. And also, we will be staying on top of the state attorney. We are expecting that there will be a press conference soon, sometime this afternoon, in regards to what just happened in the courtroom. So you can trust us to be out there and bring you the latest. Now, you do not have to wait for this information to hit broadcast. We are online as well. You can follow along on Twitter, on Facebook, and you can join us right back here at 5 p.m. for all the latest details. For now, Lauren Petrelli, Shari Armstrong, Fox 4 in your corner.